Exclusive dash cam video, which is now the subject of several law enforcement investigations. It shows the moment a red semi-truck plowed into a number of vehicles. A total of 4 semis were involved and also 4 passenger vehicles, one of them exploding in flames. 3 people were killed and 4 others were taken to local hospitals. This horrific crash happened just east of the 15 freeway and shut down all westbound lanes for more than 12 hours. Thousands of drivers were trapped in the gridlock just as the evening commute was getting underway.
But in light of the recent events that have taken place, felt it was necessary to update the lawsuit that has been filed to block the new non-domicile CDL rule. So the lawsuit seeks to block DOT's purge of 194,000 non-domicile CDL drivers. Unions representing governments, workers, and teachers filed a lawsuit on Monday to promptly invalidate the Department of Transportation's September emergency rulemaking on non-domicile CDLs that seeks to put roughly 200,000 current CDL holders out of work. Truth of the matter is, countless amounts of people have came into this country undocumented, unvetted, and a lot of them have gotten away and they have fled to sanctuary cities. And in these sanctuary cities and states like California just issue them, in New York, issue them a non-domicile CDL with no name given. So it's not 200,000 lawful migrants that are in the trucking industry that are at risk of losing their license. It's a lot of fraud, abuse, and the system has been plagued and it's in crisis mode. So it says that the American Federation State, County, and Municipal Employees, the American Federation Teachers, and the Public Citizen Litigation Group filed a petition for review in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit to challenge the new rule, calling it a threat to the livelihood of immigrants. We don't think about the livelihood of American citizens who also depend on trucking, who now they can't find a decent wage, low rates, and the immigrants who are running this freight for these low rates. The rule changes from DOT's Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, now in effect, limit which non-citizens can get CDLs. 194,000 of approximately 200,000 current non-domicile CDL holders under the rule's terms will have their CDLs revoked or lapsed without renewal possibility in the next 2 years. Asylum seekers, refugees, and deferred action for childhood arrivals recipients who have work authorization are barred from holding commercial driver license based on their immigration status. A press release on the AFT's website elaborated. The new lawsuit, Rivera Luan versus FMCSA, takes its plaintiff's name from a DACA recipient and owner-operator. The suit will challenge both the substance of the rule and FMCA's failure to follow rulemaking procedures required by law, according to the release. Without a commercial driver license, says Rivera, I would lose my business and the income that allows me to provide for my family. Lujan has lived in the United States since he was 2 years old. I have followed all the rules and complied with all requirements set by the government, he continued. Issuing the final rule, FMCSA detailed 5 deadly crashes involving non-domicile CDL drivers. And you can add to that list because another non-domiciled, undocumented illegal immigrant was involved in a fatal crash on I-10. Says that without first posting notice, it says issuing the rule, detailed 5 deadly crashes as basis for the emergency action, declaring a final rule without first posting notice and going through comment periods on the Federal Registry before implementation. FMCSA also cited national security concerns attached to having foreign CDL holders operating big trucks. This unlawful rule seems intended to put people authorized to work in the United States out of work, solely because of the prejudices of the Trump administration, says Wendy Liu, attorney at Public Citizens Litigation Group. We are asking the court to promptly invalidate the rule to prevent devastating consequences for our clients and the hundreds of thousands of people across the country who depend on commercial driver's license for their livelihoods. Yeah, it's interesting because, they don't talk about the effects that these undocumented immigrants have on American truckers. It's just been awful out here for truck drivers, and competing with these low-wage, undocumented, non-domicile CDL drivers. And a lot who come over from Canada and Mexico. And what they do is they have the visas and they're supposed to run loads up to the border. And what they do is they stay here for months running loads. It's called cabotage. And so, in effect, they're pretty much mercenary in the country, running loads unlawfully. They have the visa to work, but their rule says they're supposed to leave, and they don't. Migrant crisis with the illegal border crossers, and the countless millions of people who've fled to sanctuary states, and now they have CDLs and they're in these trucks, untrained, very with minimum training, lots of time no training. We don't even know if they are the person who they say they are, because some of these CDLs have no name given. So it's put a lot of owner operators out of business. So I'm sorry, Rivera Luan. I feel for you. You may have done things the right way, but it's unfortunate that you have to suffer a casualty of what this previous administration allowed to take place by opening the borders and flooding the country, flooding the interior of this country with illegals. And then the sanctuary states putting them in 18-wheelers without vetting, without training. In some cases, they just bypass the system completely. And I hope if she goes into court with that argument, this lawsuit is dead on arrival. It says the lawsuit also cites an asylum seeker who joined the suit as dependent on truck driving to support his family. He's an asylum seeker. Like, I mean, don't you have to go through that asylum process first? I mean, I get they get to work, they get approval to work while they go through that process. But think about this: this person's an asylum seeker, wherever country he's from. We don't know what his driving history was in that country. We don't even know if he has even driven before. And now he's sitting up in a tractor trailer. So he's an asylum seeker. He says, I've endured tremendous hardships, but have fought to rebuild my life through trucking. For me and so many others, this rule would be a tragedy, destroying years of sacrifice and honest work. I mean, I'm sorry, but the rules are the rules. You don't get to come here and just jump the line, get all these perks, get all these benefits, get a CDL handed to you, get a driver's license handed to you, skip taking the written exam, skip having to do the hours of school training and driving, get with your friends who have these ghost companies and running around state to state driving recklessly. And then when truckers, because truthfully, this didn't come from Trump. This came from truck drivers who sounded the alarm, was simply sick and tired of seeing all of the fatalities, the fatal collisions and crashes on the highways. And in addition to having our wages undercut, legal immigrants who will take the cheap freight, and it's essentially putting truckers out of business. So I'm sorry. The rule on non-domicile CDLs, it says, is about safety and integrity of the CDL issuing process. It just amazes me. I would have never thought that if all industries, people could just bypass all that training, bypass all that safety knowledge, and just get right in behind the wheel of a tractor trailer with a non-domicile CDL. It's insane. Non-domicile CDL applicants do not provide 3 years worth of motor vehicle records when applying for CDLs. Furthermore, people who arrive undetected across the southern border do not undergo criminal history checks, and those people sometimes go on to seek asylum. The driver behind the triple fatal Florida Turnpike U-turn crash, he was an asylum seeker who previously had a deportation order, according to the Department of Homeland Security. It talks about some polls that Overdrive took, and it says that in poll in June expressed support for banning CDLs for non-citizens, with 64% in favor. And we got this guy, Lee Saunders, who's part of this lawsuit. This is what he says. This administration's new rule prevents immigrants who are lawfully present in the country and authorized to work from supporting themselves and their families. EME President Lee Saunders. The new rule, which impacts holders of all CDL classes, disrupts essential services communities rely on. Saunders continued. Drivers who take our children to school, deliver food and medicine, clean trash off the street must have these commercial driver license. Denying them inflicts unnecessary pain on everyone their lives touch. This issue centered around truck drivers on the highway. And so, as I said earlier, it's unfortunate that the school bus drivers, food delivery drivers, garbage truck drivers, I mean, and honestly, I don't even know why they have those jobs. I mean, if they're undocumented and here seeking asylum, those are great jobs. I mean, I thought they were here to pick the crops. Who put them on our highways and who gave them driver's license? Goes on to say again, it's talking about how cruel for the Trump administration. The cruelty is the point, said ATF President Randy Weingarten. I could tell he hasn't, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he drives. It's a different story when you're behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler, man, or when you're watching all of these videos of these fatal collisions. I mean, when you want to talk about cruelty, man, and then you find out that the person behind the wheel crossed the border a couple of years ago and they're behind the wheel of a 18-wheeler. I mean, you want to talk about cruelty, he just goes into a Trump deranged rant about cruelty, illegal rule, no justification, thousands of law, just the same talking points that we hear from these folks. I just think that it's unfortunate that it might be, good people who are really doing the right thing are going to have to suffer as a result of this new rule. But I think that them challenging this is probably, it can be a make or break lawsuit, because if the courts side with the administration, I mean, they're done. They're really done. I mean, right now, it's not going to stop the auditing. It's not going to stop the crashes. The crashes are still happening. So it's a matter of like, what do these people value? Safety, doing things the right way, or the ones who always talk about the rule of law? They don't care about the law. The rule of law, as long as you're, on one side. But if you're on this side, the rule of law is just like a figment of, it's just a statement. It has no meaning, because we found the fraud, we found the scams, we see all the ghost companies, authorities listed to single addresses or under single names. We seen the driver's license with no names given. We know that states have issued multiple CDLs to undocumented. So what do these people think the outcome is, the best outcome for this? I mean, do they want to make a deal? Do they want to say, well, hey, don't take the people who've been doing it the right way off? I mean, at the end of the day, I think, and I'll just say this, the energy they focus their energy on is the administration and their dislike of the administration and all of the Trump deranged talking points about how cruel he is and their racism. But they never talk to their own communities about, hey, doing things the right way and acknowledging that there's people out on these roads that shouldn't be out here. But thank y'all for joining me. Like and subscribe to the channel and come check me out. And y'all enjoy your day.